Hello, I am Arion. This is Book Zealots, and I have Manifest Destiny! Woohoo! For 1839. President was Martin Van Buren. Have you all ever read about him? I don't have a book on Martin Van Buren, and neither does Prometheus. I don't know what we're going to do about that. For all you who read about a biography on each president, if you've read a book and you can recommend a book, please let me know. The vice president was Richard M. Johnson. Richard M. Johnson, and he was a Democrat from Kentucky. I don't even know who this is. Chief Justice was Roger B. Taney from Maryland. And the Speaker of the House of Representatives, James K. Polk from Tennessee, and Robert Mercer Taliaferro Hunter, and he was from Virginia. So Polk was until March 4th, and Hunter was starting in December. All right, people, we have a lot that has happened, so I'm going to try and go quickly. Some of these mentions were either born in 1839 or died in 1839, but whatever it was that they did, if it interests you, read it. If you all need help on what Manifest Destiny is or was or what we're doing, here's it in a nutshell. Any people that transpired, took place, lived during 1837 to 1901 in America, you get to read. There are gray areas. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below, question below, what have you. Okay, so February 11th, the University of Missouri is established, becoming the first public university west of the Mississippi River. March 5th, Longwood University is founded in Farmville. Everybody out here in Kentucky says "bull" instead of "ville." In Farmville, Virginia. March 7th, Baltimore City College, the third public high school in the United States, is established in Baltimore, Maryland. Okay, now I'm curious. Okay, March 23rd, the Boston Morning Post first records the word of okay. Okay. That was slang. Okay would not have been an appropriate usage in polite society. And they put it in the Post. That's shocking. August 8th, the Beta Theta Pi fraternity is founded in Oxford, Ohio. There's no date on this one. Robert Cornelius takes the first photographic self-portrait selfie in the United States. I'm learning so much. October 7th, much of downtown Mobile, Alabama is destroyed by a wind-fueled fire. November 11th, the Virginia Military Institute is founded in Lexington, Virginia. November 13th, first U.S. anti-slavery party, Liberty Party, convenes in New York. I've never even heard of this. November 27th, in Boston, Massachusetts, the American Statistical Association is founded. Do you all find yourself fitting into statistics? I never seem to fit into them, which is really weird. February 24th, William Otis receives a U.S. patent for the steam shovel. January 8th, a William A. Clark was born in 1839. He was an American politician and an entrepreneur. Doesn't say what entrepreneur he was, but if that interests you, by all means look it up, have fun. January 9th, John Knowles Paine was an American composer, also born in 1839. I had to do double side on this one. February 9th, Laura Redden Searing, a deaf poet and a journalist, she was born in 1839, died in 1923. February 11th, Josiah Willard Gibbs was an American physicist and a chemist. So if that sort of thing fascinates you, Josiah Willard Gibbs. Alman Brown Strowger was an American telecommunications engineer. Yes, that would be really cool. Then there was, okay, so I kind of did some information on him because I found that fascinating. Commonly told story holds that Strowger believed that his undertaking business was losing clients to a competitor whose wife was a local telephone operator. She was preventing phone calls to go to him and relaying them to her husband's company. That is so wrong and unethical. And so he created an automatic telephone exchange. Isn't that awesome? I think that's so cool. Then in February 22nd, Francis Pharcellus Church was an American editor and publisher, and it's a man because it's IS. March 8th, Josephine Cochran, an American inventor of the first commercially successful dishwasher. Yeah, baby. We have one, I never use it. Then on March 9th, Phoebe Knapp was born, and she was a hymn writer. March 15th, Daniel Ridgway Knight, an American artist, was born, and I will try and include some artwork. Of his, if I am recalling correctly, I think I liked them. March 19th, Rachel Plummer, an American writer, daughter of James W. Parker and the cousin of Quanah Parker. I don't know those people. April 8th, Benjamin Pierce was an American politician. April 2nd, Hezekiah Niles was an American editor and publisher. If you notice, there's been a lot of publishers and a lot of authors just since 1837 to 1839. April 5th, John Tipton was an American politician. April 7th, David Baird was Ireland-born, and he became a U.S. Senator from New Jersey from 1918 to 1919. April 7th, read that. April 8th, Belle L. Pettigrew was an American teacher and a missionary. Remember last video, if the person is American and American born, but then they go somewhere else, that's a gray area, up to you if you want to study that person. Thomas Cooper, an American politician, an American political philosopher. Thomas Cooper, why is this twice? I have no idea. Is this the same person? Or is this somebody different? I'm going to say this is somebody different. Thomas Cooper, an Anglo-American, what does that even mean? Economist, college president, and political philosopher. Is that the same person? It has to be the same person. Why is it listed twice? And why do they have different information? June 7th, this is kind of one of those gray areas. Yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to mention this one. July 8th, John D. Rockefeller was born in 1839. Oil industry business magnate and philanthropist. Titan. I don't know if I've started this. Okay, so I have a book on him. Yay! August 1st, Middleton P. Barrow, a U.S. Senator from Georgia from 1882 to 1883, so 1 year, died in 1903. August 8th, Beta Theta, oh, I've already read that. August 8th, Nelson A. Miles was an American general. So you can read about the military, you can read about specific generals or captains or what have you. August 22nd, Benjamin Lundy was an American Quaker abolitionist. I don't think I've read anything on him. August 23rd, George Clement Perkins, U.S. Senator from California from 1893 to 1915. Ooh, that would be interesting. August 26th, Hernando Money, U.S. Senator from Mississippi from 1897 to 1911. If you all have ever read or you like this area of the Mississippi River, the Mississippi River by Mark Twain was a really fascinating book. I liked that. September 2nd, Henry George was a writer, politician, political economist. September 10th, Charles Sanders Peirce was a philosopher, logician, scientist, and founder of pragmatism. Let's be pragmatic, shall we? September 12th, Mary H. Graves was an American minister, literary editor, and writer. Look, did women just have it better in America than overseas? I'm really curious. September 13th, Thomas J. Maston, a Confederate captain and lawyer. I'm not familiar with this person. September 18th, William J. McConnell, U.S. Senator from Idaho from 1890 to 1891, 1 year. September 28th, Frances Willard. Why does that name sound familiar? American educator, temperance reformer, and women's suffragist. Frances as a girl, women, ES instead of IS. I'm trying to think if I've read anything about her because the name kind of sounds familiar. September 29th, James Kimbrough Jones was a U.S. Senator from Arkansas. The Great Fire, I've read about that, the Great Fire of Mobile, Alabama. October 20th, Augustus Octavius Bacon. This poor guy. U.S. Senator from Georgia, November 4th. Oh, I read about him. November 16th, U.S. diplomat John Lloyd Stevens and British artist Frederick Catherwood first reached the ruins of the Maya city of Copan, which is modern Honduras, and the explorers who revealed the Maya to the world. I say it counts. I mean, yeah, it's about Honduras, but one of the guys was American and he was born November 16th in 1839, so it's one of those great areas, and if you want to read about it, I say yes, go for it. All right, so we have November 27th, John William Draper. He was a scientist and a photographer, and he was born in England, but he moved to America. And he immigrated to Virginia in 1832. So even though it was before, his timeline counts. And if this interests you, I say go for it. And then I think I read that part. And December 5th, George Armstrong Custer. You all recognize that name, right? U.S. Army officer and cavalry commander from Ohio from 1861 to 1876. You all know what the Union Army did, right, after the Civil War. December 12th, Caroline Ingalls was born. She was born Caroline Lake Quiner, an American pioneer and mother of the author Laura Ingalls Wilder. December 21st, Sherman Conant, an American soldier and politician. This is very interesting. A lot of politicians. He served as the 9th Florida Attorney General during Reconstruction, and he was appointed by Ulysses S. Grant. Okay, so deaths of people. a little more than a handful. John Wesley Jarvis, he was a portrait painter. And February 26th, so that was January 14th, February 26th, Sybil Ludington was a heroine of the American Revolutionary War. So these are the people that died. They lived during the time period. They count. You know, they count. I say so because we have loosey-goosey rules. April 1st, Benjamin Pierce, he was the governor of North Hampshire and the father of the 14th president of the United States, Franklin Pierce. Oh, that's interesting. Hezekiah Niles, a magazine publisher. John Tipton, a U.S. senator from Indiana. April 22nd, Samuel Smith, U.S. senator from Maryland. Thomas Cooper, I mentioned him. Nathaniel Hale Pryor. Oh, he was a sergeant in the Lewis and Clark expedition. I've never read a book on him. Huh. Ah, the Bull. He was the Cherokee chief, and he was shot July 16th. Benjamin Lundy, an abolitionist, I think I mentioned him. William Dunlap, actor, manager, dramatist, and painter. Did I mention him already? I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. It was really hard to keep all this straight. Expansion and territories. Westward expansion continued, but the map of the United States looked different than it does today. Well, obviously. The Republic of Texas. It was an independent nation to the southwest. The vast Oregon country was jointly occupied by U.S. and Britain. The large areas of the West were designated as unorganized or Indian Territory, and the border between Missouri and Iowa Territory was in dispute. I know a lot of people aren't aware of this. I don't think I knew about this. I found out from Prometheus. Leading to the Honey War, and it is in quotes, which provided precedence for the Pig War. Are you familiar with either one of them? My time is getting ready to run out. The Wilkes Expedition and the South Pole Exploration, U.S. exploring expeditions, Antarctic achievements, significance, the South Polar regions. And even though technically these areas are not the United States, because the people that were in the explorations were from America, they count. Now, obviously, not everybody in the exploration were American. They still count. If you want to read about them, they count, right? I say yes. And I think, oh, there's one other person I wanted to mention, Margaret Fuller. She was a feminist and a journalist. She was from Cambridge, Massachusetts. Okay, so that's a lot to take in. I will try and remember to include pictures of things and whatnot. Anyways, I hope you guys are having fun. I hope the names or ideas or the places are giving some brain synapse connections. Anyways, gotta go. Love you guys. Talk to you in the comment section. Bye.